Okay, everyone. That was odd. Don't know what happened, but we should be back. So hopefully we are. Really don't know why that occurred, but here we are, back again. Welcome again. Welcome again. Welcome. I'm your Saturday night. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to say really quick. We are here for art night. I have my brushes. I have my canvas set up. Here is my palette. So, what are some things that we are doing tonight? Well, we're going to be jumping into some wonderful art. I mean, that's why we're here, isn't it? We're here for art. And I'm not going to take too long to talk about this. So, I'm going to be sharing some links tonight so that you can check out my uh, my website. And on my website, you're going to be able to pick up my art, pick up my merch, pick up my prints, things like that. Hopefully, my sound is coming through well. If it's not, let me know. There's also going to be captions available for those who need them. And those captions should be accessible. So just let me know if you see them, if they're not accessible. Let me know these things. It's very important. Here we are, though. We are in my studio and library spaces where I do all of my streaming. What is visible right now on camera? We have my paint palette leaned up against my canvas board, which is on my easel. Behind that are my bookshelves and some books, a fencing mask, a helmet, a wall display. But really, everything is going to be focused right on the art. That's what's important at the moment. That is that really is the most important thing right now. And I'm not going to take a whole bunch of time to talk about what we're doing. I'm going to get right into it. I will say, though, that when you go ahead and you go to my website and you get one of my original art pieces, if you get a print, if you get a bag, if you get a t-shirt, a sweater, anything, all of that goes to supporting these streams, these events, these activities, all this good stuff I do. It helps me produce the workshops that I do monthly. It helps with production of so much that I do. So please, please, please check out my website. Pick up an art print. Pick up a t-shirt. It would mean the world to me. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to move this. So we have the canvas board set up already. And I really like this wood palette. This is so nice. This is awesome. So much fun. I'm going to talk for a second. I got this lovely nail polish on, but I got two different colors. So let me just say really quick. So I have this wonderful pink that is on just a couple fingers. And that pink, I really like it. It's really nice. It looks good. Fits with my skin tone. And then I have this darky, purpley kind of color on the other three fingers for each hand. And I really like that too because I think that also fits my personality. We just have these wonderful combinations of things. But what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be doing... So if you watched the last two of my... if you watched the last two streams I did, what I was doing is I was creating a portrait of a character. So I'm going to create another portrait today. I'm going to be using both Cali Art and Shuttle Art acrylics. And I'm going to be starting off with a phthalo blue and a gray. These are really nice paints. They have a really nice consistency. And I'm going to start blocking in sections. So that's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start by blocking in some sections. So I'm going to grab this number 6 round brush. And this number 6 round brush is what I'm going to start with. And I'm going to start blocking in some sections. And I already have that gray and that phthalo blue picked out. And what I'm going to be doing to start with is I'm going to establish some shadow areas. And once I get these shadow areas established, we're going to move from there. And I'm starting with the phthalo blue for what's going to be the base of my shadow region. And I'm using this round brush because it actually has a lot of versatility and just a lot of, I like it. I'm just going to say I like it. We're not going to put extra garnish on a rose that doesn't need it. But I'm just going to start blocking in some areas where I'm going to have shadow. And I'm doing that. I'm going to do all of these dark spots right off the bat. Now, sometimes I work from dark to light, and sometimes I work from light to dark. Right now, what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to be establishing a lot of my dark, shadowy values early on. And I'm going to be doing that with the phthalo blue. Because even though, not all light is equivalent, I do want to establish what my darkest colors are early on. Now, when it comes to painting, remember that there is no right or wrong way to do it. You are the architect of your own designs. And at the same time, it never hurts to take some concept or even direction from what you see other artists doing. But really early on here, I want to establish a lot of my dark values. It's going to give me access to a certain range of color and also mood. So mood is really important. Mood is so very, very important. And I do not want to underplay the importance of establishing the mood for this piece. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm blocking in spots where I know it's going to be dark. And I'm establishing places where I know there's going to be shadow. And right now it doesn't look like a lot, we're kind of having fun. But this is really going a long way towards creating an initial concept. And that's one of the really valuable things in this kind of art style. You develop your concept, but we're not going for the details or anything yet. We're just like, hey, this would look really cool. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm just creating something that I think will look really cool. And then So already, I've achieved a lot with very little. Like, this is just early blocking, but already we have the structure. You know, we have a nose structure, we have eyes, we have all this stuff happening already. And because we already have all this stuff happening, it makes everything that I do after this so much easier. So this is the phthalo blue. I've already established some really dark tones. Those dark tones are going to go a long way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this up with some gray. And I'm going to continue to kind of establish my darker regions. You know, immediately building an early lighting for this. You know, and this is kind of how initial color blocking and initial study in pieces can go. Don't be afraid to experiment when you're early on. Because those experiments are actually going to give a lot of value. And that's one of the things that we're establishing right now, is this early value where, again, we're just blocking in color, but also establishing what we're about to create. I also would like to emphasize that there's nothing you can do right now that's wrong. So I'm going to end up going over the edges here and there. But as you notice, I'm actually starting to fill in some of these blocking areas. Others I'm keeping really loose. But we're already starting to get the initial shapes and tones. It's also allowing me to start to build up everything. And that's a really important skill to have. Good day. Welcome. Welcome to Art Night. I'm glad to see you here. We're doing some initial blocking right now. Getting in our first colors. So happy to have you here. Painting is a process. So if you're not someone who engages in a lot of artwork or anything like that, this is a fun process. If you do a lot of art, thank you very much. Thank you. Definitely use that today. Snazzy. I like that, snazzy. But yes, this is just initial blocking. And it's very, very bland right now. But when you're doing kind of a study like this, and this really is, that's what this is right now.
It is a study. We haven't really gotten into the finer bits. I completely understand. Painting is a wonderful, wonderful experience, and there are definitely days where I wish I was doing a lot more painting than I was. All right. So here we have our initial blocking, building in the light. And what I'm actually going to be doing right from here is I'm going to be grabbing a light apricot out with 20 calf in the middle of a field. That sounds like something many of my neighbors would do. 10 at night. Woo! Late. So then you would be, I'm just going to take a wild guess. You're Western. Yeah, Western Europe. Probably UK, probably Ireland, maybe Spain, I don't know. All of those times would be roughly right. Gotcha. Glad to have you here. I actually truly enjoy your country, or at least the bits of it I've gotten to see. Alright, so this is a light apricot. Just getting that in here. I haven't actually been on your side of the ocean in a couple of years, but I think that's kind of a common thing for a lot of people right now. But yeah. So this apricot, again, I'm just blocking in color. Again, I'm still using this round brush. We're just still in the early phases of everything. A lot of good friends from your side of the pond. A lot of good friends. A lot of good people over there. Missing a calf. That's no good. That's no good at all. I do wish you the best of luck on finding your calf. That is never good. So I'm just going to continue painting here. So I had some ideas, and I'm just going to keep talking to all of you who are here still, and whether you're joining me on YouTube or Twitch or LinkedIn, I am so glad that you're here. No matter where you are. Our fluffy friends are important. Alright. And now, even though I'd already established all this gray down here, I'm just going to get some of this light apricot in here now too. This is how progress is made. We start in a certain place and we just keep going. So from here, I'm actually going to be putting some raw umber on. And I'm going to be taking a flat brush. This is a number 8 flat brush. I'm going to be taking this number 8 flat brush and I'm going to take some of this wonderful raw umber. I'm going to blade the tip of my brush. That bladed tip, I'm going to come in here like this. And again, this is just early establishment of tone, of color, so many things. The good thing is, like, I'm still so early in this piece that nothing I do can't be fixed, can't be updated. I'm just going to go ahead and get some of that right in there. Feather some in. My intention and my thought is that it's a sword. You know, sometimes it is. It's ever so slightly out of frame right now, but my full visor helmet is actually just sitting on the edge of the screen at the moment, just barely out of camera. There's certain things in life that it's hard to say no to, and that's one of them. Alright, so now, very carefully, where this gray is, I'm going to add some of that raw umber to what's eventually going to be the eyebrows. So, large sections of where the hair is going to be are getting that. And again, this is all about early foundations in regards to tone, blocking, and color. I'm actually going to get that really heavy down here. There won't be any black for some time because, frankly, it is the wrong time for that. Black in a painting, well, you can walk it back, but as soon as it's there, it's kind of a commitment. So if you're trying a painting for the first time and you want to build things like shadow and depth, try to not use something as hard as a black. You can walk it back, but it's a commitment. You have committed to a concept. And those commitments, those commitments. Alright. So that just has already created a really nice visual here. And we're still doing blocking, so I'm going to get some lemon yellow. I'm going to mix that with just a little bit of my brown. Mix that up here. So just a tiny bit of brown with some lemon yellow. Just to desaturate it slightly. And I'm going to start to fill in some of these other block areas of color. I'm still using round brushes. This is actually going to be a number 6 round brush. But, again, it's foundational right now. But what that little bit of brown does mix into this lemon yellow is it makes it kind of a warm, comforting tone. And that's really what I want right now, is I want something warm, I want something comforting. You can see, actually, kind of some of the effect it's having in some of these spaces. And you notice I'm not shying away from laying it over top of some of what's already there. This is like right where, you know, art gets into that fun space where it's both what feels right and what looks right. You can't actually trust that what you're doing is the right choice unless you do a little bit of experimentation. And that's what we're doing right now.
It's experimentation.
And it's building. I'm going to have to actually go over that edge a little bit because I can see too much white space.
Mix up a little bit more.
Really getting us this nice early tone of what's there. I'm actually going to lay a lot of that down there.
We're getting a lot of
Really good early blocking in here. So I'm going to grab my flat brush again. And I need a little bit more of that raw umber. Being really careful here, but this is where we get kind of experimental. In that experimentation, we're going to find some fun aspects of possibility. Going to get a little bit of the gray. Make it a little more creamy there. Actually, I want more gray in there. There's just so much that we can do right now. And because there's so much we can do, there's a lot of fun we can have. Oops. Want to be careful about that. And then get some of this blue. Actually, I want a lot of it in here. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually going back and forth between gray, blue, and umber. But it's going to get me just a better overall tone. As we build the basis of this growing portrait. And that's one of the big things that we're considering right now is where is our portrait going? What exactly are we doing with it? I have to constantly ask myself, like, where am I going? And that's actually not a bad thing. Like, you should have a lot of questions for yourself. We're just getting a lot of development here now. Lots of development in this early design as we move forward. So this is something that I've done before in the past, and it's something I'm going to do right now. We're going to make this, a bit of a story. And part of that story is who's this person and why are we painting them? These are things that you have to consider as you move along. And just so you know, I'm going to be adding some yellow ochre, some lamp black, some more of our phthalo blue. I actually want more gray in here. I already have the lemon yellow, but something I'm going to do before I get too far along is I'm going to get out, I haven't used this yet, but I have a wonderful crimson. and I'm going to get it out, and I'm going to use it. So can't believe I haven't used my crimson yet. How have I not used my crimson yet? And what I'm going to be doing right now with that crimson is I'm going to start right with that. With a little round brush. This is a number 2 round brush. I'm going to grab this. And get a little bit of crimson. And with this crimson, which I think is going to be wonderful. So I'm going to start to add some color to where these lips are going to be. Just starting to add this in now. Just adding some crimson in there right now. And with another number 2 round brush, I'm going to do the thing that I was just saying a little bit ago. Like, be careful, because once you add it, you know it's there. I'm going to be taking some lamp black. And one of the first things I'm going to do with that lamp black is I'm actually going to really darken in this gap here between the lips. Start to darken underneath the lips. You know, we're still very early stage here. And I still have plenty of time to work this back if I want to. But there's certain spots I really just want to darken up now. Now you notice I'm not just shoving all the black I possibly can into there. Just a little bit. We're going kind of lighter than we could. That's just one of those things that you gotta do. Now here I'm gonna actually make it heavier because in the end I'm gonna want to really emphasize what's going to be some of the shadow in this. That's something that we are going to build up slowly. But while I have that, look at that. Just starting to fill that in. And I'll do the same thing over here.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to end up looking, I think, really nice. already getting what could be conceived of as some just really good shading. Now, as you'll notice, I'm going really dark right now. I am going to pull this back, but for the time being, this extreme darkness is actually going to help out my final composition. So that's one of the big things that I'm thinking about right now, is I'm thinking about my final composition. I'm thinking about where I might be going with this. That's something you have to do, is think about where you might be going. And once you can see it, once you can really start to appreciate where you might end up, you can start to do these things. And that's what I'm doing, is I can kind of see the direction I'm heading. And because I can, I'm going to start leaning into it. That's exactly what I'm doing right now, is I'm leaning into what I think is growing. You know, so we're getting just something really nice here. Really well formed. I'm going to add a little bit of white here, because the eyes just need more. So I just need a little bit of white, and I'm going to take a small round brush, and I'm going to add a little bit of white into the eyes before we continue on. Oh, here we go. And honestly, I actually think this is going really well. Those are going to be fixed up here in a little bit. But while I have this in hand, because I made these lips so dark that you can barely make them out. I just have to take some of this white. I'm going to go over my crimson. I will be putting more darkness back into these lips, but right now they were just so dark I did not like the way it looked. It's making it harder for me to find what will be my final composition. Oh, I got a little bit of black in there. You know what? I like it. We're going to let that happen. Alright.
actually made a lot of improvement so far.
We're still building up a lot, and we're still getting various effects happening. Before I let too much time pass, I'm going to go back in here. I do not want to lose
Too much of what's going to be there.
there.
So I think that actually makes a huge improvement on
What was already visible. Now I have my yellow ochre. I just want a little bit of that. And then I'm actually going to be getting some of that apricot. I'm going to mix those together. So I'm going to mix together some yellow ochre and apricot. I'm going to be using a 1-inch flat brush. That. Just going to start to work that in. Need a little bit more. Well, I managed to get a darker color in there.
just because I'm working with
Still very wet paint in some spots. This is going to be something that happens as you're painting, is you get various tones that are going to pull out of your paint. Feather, 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 feather. I already see that
I have a lot to do on here.
and I'm just going to keep working at it. I don't suspect that this is going to be a one and done painting. You know, let's be fair. The chances of this being a one and done painting, I think we all know what those chances are. The chances of it being a really nice painting, I think those are pretty good chances, actually. Need some more of that yellow ochre.
more of it. Thank you for joining me.
For today's painting. I know I've actually already thanked everyone for being here. But, you know, it doesn't change the fact that I'm always very grateful for all of you. So let me just say, I'm very grateful to have such a wonderful group of people who join me for painting time, that support the work I do, that show up.
Because it actually does mean a great deal to me. So we're getting a lot of various effects going on, and I am loving it. I'm going to grab some
Phthalo blue and another flat brush. So recently, I did a portrait entitled Josephine. I was so happy with it that I'm like, I just want to do another portrait.
I keep exploring these other styles of art
that aren't normally in my repertoire. And I keep finding it to be a very rewarding experience. For those of you who've ever attended one of my art workshops, you know I do a lot of abstract work. Like, that's a big thing for me. I love doing abstract painting. But something I actually love even more than just abstract painting is the expressive qualities that I can find within painting. And as an artist, you cannot limit yourself to one style, to
one concept of art.
I think in some ways this is also an abstract painting.
I mean, it ticks a lot of the boxes for abstract painting.
I'm not out here, like, doing anything revolutionary or really unique. But I'm also not just following some standard procedure
for how art is supposed to be.
And that's one of the things that we're supposed to do, you know, find what works for us. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say supposed to do so much as that's one of the things that it's really nice that we can do. is find things that work for us, and also find things that we think are visually appealing. So I know I just said, like, I'm not doing anything revolutionary. Like, this is not some groundbreaking work. But it is something meaningful. And I think that's what's important.
You don't have to go out there today and be Monet
Or Degas.
You don't have to
Be the world's next Picasso. In fact, you don't have to be anything.
You don't have to aspire to be anything
But you. I don't think you should have to aspire. I don't think you should have to think that that's a requirement of your life. We're hit with tons of ideas from other people as we grow up.
what you should do, what you should be,
Even how you should be.
I think you should be exactly you. like to take a moment to encourage all of you
to make sure that you're getting some art in your life. And some joy. If you've had something joyful happen to you recently, feel free to share. Because you know what?
that is some great stuff. Joy. I can't believe how far we came in an hour. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at how far we've already come.
I'm going to let this sit for a moment. And I'm going to think about my character.
So I've been taking this time kind of drawing this person. I sketched them out. I blocked their face. I found their light. Who are they?
What do they dream?
And not just what do they dream, but what do they desire? What do they want?
What gets them up out of bed in the morning?
You ever think about that, about people that you meet? Like, what gets you up out of bed in the morning? I couldn't help myself. I saw some stuff and I'm like, oh, I gotta hit it. I gotta hit it. And sometimes that's what you do.
You see something and you're like, I gotta do it.
So I don't actually know this person's name. I don't know their
Dreams or their wishes?
don't even know their heart yet.
Should know their heart.
They're right here before me. What do you think? And I'd like to hear your opinion.
Bet you got one. Messed up on that a little bit, but it's nothing too bad because I can fix it. And that's one of the fun things about a piece of art like this.
Is we can always fix it.
And I can even get a brush in here. And I can add some additional shading while I do.
See how that worked out?
And I can grab some of my crimson, some of my white. So I hope you've liked this art piece today. You know, I know we've gone and done a lot. And there's actually still a lot that can be done. Like, there's still tons that can be done here. So I think this is going to be a 2-part painting.
How does that lip color look?
I think that looks nice. This is going to be another 2-part painting where we come back to this character next week. We do some more exploration. We try to figure out more about them. We try to get better acquainted with them. I actually want some more crimson here because I'm going to put some tone variants in there. Tone variants. But I need to come up with some sort of story, some sort of concept, some sort of ideal. Who is this? And I just don't have enough to go off of. I should. I made this person. I can get so lost in the creative part of art. That I forget what I'm even doing. Add some shadow in there now.
That looks better already, doesn't it?
Honestly, I don't think it's going to take a lot to make this character stick out a lot better, a lot more. I got some paint on my hands. But that's fine. That's okay. We like a little paint on our hands. We like a little fun. Let me get some of this gray. I think it's a really good way to highlight some spots. I can actually start building in what will be highlight layers in the hair. actually put some white on there just really quick, and then I'm going to grab some more gray. And now that I've done that, get some of this. Just because I want it to be a very specific way. There we go.
Like, it just adds more texture, right?
It's more visual interest. This is a lot darker portrait than last week's. And I think that I can actually make it even darker still. But I'd really love to hear your thoughts on these style art pieces that I've been doing. I'd really like to get some feedback and know how you feel in regards to this kind of change in momentum and change in direction. Like, is this something that you enjoy? Is this something that we should do more of? Are these the kinds of paintings that add something, in your opinion, of value to the overall scheme of this amazing paint journey? Oof, I don't like that. I'm going to have to fix that right now. Oh, yeah. We need to come back to this. We need to do a lot more. Honestly, I think I need to just kind of play around and see what feels right in here. And once we've done that, we'll probably find other things that we want to adjust. I think that there's actually a ton here that can be adjusted and will be adjusted. And it just requires us to continue exploring.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue exploring
until we know where we are, where we're going, and what is or is not our final look. And that's something I'm perfectly fine to do. Because I don't think we should be done until we're done.
Like, that's a big thing. Be done when you are done.
Don't be done because someone says you're done. Don't be done because, oh, well, I guess I'm done.
Be done because it feels right.
But I'd like to thank you all for being here today. This has been your Saturday night. Now, a quick little thing, depending on where you're joining me, there is going to be a link where you can visit my website. Actually, let me see if I can push that back, see if that does anything for visibility. I know that there's a lot of wet paint on here still, and because there's a lot of wet paint, there's a lot of shine. With that said, again, depending on where you're joining me, there's going to be a link somewhere nearby that's going to let you know how to get to my website. And that website is where you can get my art, my prints, my merch, all that amazing stuff. And it is amazing. It is fun. And it's just a good time. And you should be able to have a good time right along with me. Now, this stream did end up going out twice. For some reason, we cut out in the first bit. But that's okay. That's part of how it goes. Please give me feedback on what you think would be interesting in regards not just to the painting, but things that we can go into. I didn't really come up with a story for this person. I created a face and I started getting into it. Like, sometimes that's just what happens. I start to create something and then I get so immersed in what I'm doing that I don't take time to think about some of the aspects of that are worth exploring. And with these character portraits, there's a lot that can be explored. There's a lot that can be talked about. There's a lot that can be discussed. And we should have that opportunity to do that. So I'm going to give it some thought between now and next week, because clearly I should start to build a story. Let's give her a name, though. Like, let's give her a name. So if you're joining me either now or you're watching on a replay or anything, consider a name for this woman that we painted today. Let's start to mull it over. Let's start to think about it, and then let's think about who she is. I don't have a particular expression on the face. It's kind of, I don't know, flat in expression. It's a very unexpressing face, but then again, maybe it's not. Let's take a really good look here. We have someone who's clearly looking right at us. They're not smiling. Mouth's mostly closed. Their hair's a bit of a mess. They have some shadow there. And I really like this visual look here with the deep shadows on the face, because it adds some dynamic quality to the piece, which I really like. But who is it? I want to do this right before I get off today. I want to think about this, because I didn't tell a story. Ugh, what is wrong with me? Bad artist. There's actually nothing wrong with me not telling a story with the piece, but I should. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm just going to throw out... I don't have a name for this person yet, but to me, this feels like an everyday person. This is an everyday person. She probably has a pretty standard life. I want to say that she lives maybe in a city. She lives in a city. We're going to say that. So this woman lives in a city. She probably has like normal everyday issues and problems going on. Even though she looks kind of like her hair, the way it's sitting right now, like maybe she's messy. You know what? We're gonna adjust something I said. Not just everyday person. Well, an everyday person, but you know what? For some reason, I feel like maybe she's sweating. That's why like the hair is sitting the way it is. Or maybe she was sweating, so her hair's kind of a mess now. And maybe that's because she has like a high, maybe like a high pressure job, some sort of high pressure job. Maybe she's burnt out. This is someone who has some burnout. They have a high pressure job, and maybe this is like sitting down after like their early morning, like they just had their coffee, then they're gonna have a workout or something, or maybe this is just like they've woken up. They've just woken up. That's what it is. That's why their hair looks like this. That's why there's kind of a darkness to the room. They've just woken up, they have a high pressure job, and they are already feeling anxious before the day even begins. Oh. I will take suggestions for a name between now and next week, so feel free to throw out suggestions. Here's our character, has a high pressure job, has just woken up. That's like some early morning light through the windows. And they're there. And they may or may not even want to start their day. So that's where we're going to end this. Thank you for being here. Please check out my website. Get yourself a shirt, an art print, or some original art. I am going to be adding new art pieces soon, but not just yet. But keep your eyes open. Go check. And you can of course always support by sharing these streams, whether it's on YouTube, Twitch, or otherwise. Share these streams with other people. Spread the word. But take care. Be excellent. And I will see you all again very soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Saturday. And bye to our new character, and bye to all of you.